Somebody was saying that you were painting your nails and stuff. I don't know who said that, but
yeah, didn't come out right though. Never does.
I would not have said that, man.
I've painted my wife's nails a few times.
Yeah. Hey, that's cool though. Yours, on the other hand,
Yeah.
We were guessing colors. I said chartreuse. Some guys said green pumpkin, black and blue.
I did. I have put tape on my fingers, and I almost painted them when I was playing baseball as a catcher. Man, I cannot figure out where. There it is. All right, we're good.
You good?
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Let us know if we got audio, video. Can you hear us? Or is we all good here?
I can't even see.
Let me know before we get it rolling.
I have to. I wonder if I can zoom me in. Nope. Okay.
Looks like we got a thumbs up. All good. All right. Well, guys, welcome to another SNL. I'm sure you guys know the handsome fella to my right here. Old Phantom Fishing. Andy, we call him Andrea, Shirley. He's got a few different names.
Yeah.
But Phantom Fishing is where you can find him on social media, YouTube, Instagram. The old Book of Faces, be sure to check him out. He'll be linked down below. Hope everyone is doing well on I would say beautiful Sunday, but it is raining here. Let me know how the weather is your way. Let's get this rolling, see who is on here. Got OK Fishing in the house, Bill. What's going on, buddy? Well, Fat Boy wants to know, are you going to sell your Triton? Or he wants to buy your Triton, looks like. I believe he had a Triton.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet, though. So is there future talk about a new boat?
Well, I mean, there's always dreams of a new boat. But
right.
It's just you gotta. Looks
like we're losing you on audio.
To me, I'd go out right there. You gotta think about it.
So. Right. I think we're losing you on audio. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
It does. It's almost like it buffs every once in a while. It's kind of going in and out every once in a while. So I might have to switch off wireless possibly.
Okay, yeah, it's in and out right now.
Let me see.
We got Nigel in the house here. BT from sunny South Florida. What's going on, Austin? Of course, we got old Fat Boy in the house. And these guys talking about your nail color. I did not start that, just to clear that up. That was not me.
Is it good now? Oh, you're frozen.
Looks like your video's froze, yeah.
Is it back up?
No, you're still frozen.
I just switched it off wireless.
Audio is in and out too.
Okay, back on.
Give us a minute here, fellas. You there?
Should be on.
Okay.
Yep.
All righty.
Suspense is killing.
Sean, no problem, buddy. That was one of our winners from last SNL. What's going on, Richard? Hey, how did the tournament go? You had a tournament yesterday, right?
Yep.
How did that go?
Actually, it was... Wait, I'm backwards on the camera. The Sandmark Big Bass Chase, which is a memorial tournament for Steve Fisker, and they were big into donating money to kids, and he passed away and donated a lot of money to the Steel City Bass Club, and every year they've kept this going. And Mark Dowdy, he's the owner of Sandmark Builders, and they put on this tournament for these kids. So we had 20 high school anglers, local anglers, come out. We were each paired with one, and it was more about them, pretty much I put him in the front of my boat most of
cool.
And Unfortunately, he missed a couple good bites and broke off a big one and ended up not weighing a fish, which, and then I felt really bad. Like 15 minutes into it, he caught a short fish. And then I was like, man, at least you got a fish. And then I'm like, I'm going to need the net on this one. And I had 47. That ended up being second big bass of the day. We were competing against the other Bass Club members. So I got second place, you know, but it was good. They all had fun, got a lot of prizes given out. So it was a good day.
That's cool. Cool. What was first place?
Like 390.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad.
And well, it was like 392 or something, and then a 390 on the co-angler side or the high school side, which it was caught in the first 15 minutes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I bet he was sweating it the whole time. Wonder if it's gonna hold up, you know.
His boater, Matt, said, "Hey, there should be a fish on that post on that dock." He pitches in there, boom, 390.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Calling the shots.
Yeah.
Cool. What's going on, Tim? How you doing, buddy? Rod Royal in the house. Emily. We got 60-something people in here. If you guys have not hit the thumbs up, please do that. Really do appreciate that. Looks like there's a lot of rain in the comments here. Yeah, I didn't even know it was supposed to rain today, and they're saying thunderstorms and all that tomorrow, too.
I thought it was going to wait till like 10, but came in. I had to hurry up and get the boat in the garage and everything.
So I want to kind of go over some of the craziest things that's kind of happened to us on the water. And I wanted to make a video about it, but now that we got you live here, this is a great time to do it because I actually talked about it to these guys before in a video. But you've had some pretty cool things that's happened on the water. The one that I got in a witness was pretty awesome. We can save that one for last. But the one you told me about, it was a bait from Trey. I don't want to kind of spoil the story.
Yeah, I tell you what, you know, and that's one reason I got into YouTube is because of, you know, things happening. And then when you're filming, you know, nothing happens and you don't even catch a fish. So, but it's like that day was crazy because for one, I lost the video footage on that because of that GoPro resetting. In my kayak, I talked, actually back up from there, I talked to Trey. I said, hey, I want a wake bay painted like a baby duck because all the baby ducks were being hatched, and paint me one like a baby duck. He gets it. It's awesome. Sends it to me. I get it. I'm fishing in my kayak, pretty shallow on a point, hook a big one, 6-pounder.
We might have lost.
Not like I did.
I think we lost you on 6-pounder.
Yeah, so he was a legit 6-pounder. Takes me under my kayak. I'm only in 1.5 feet of water at that point. My rod's about to break, goes under, breaks my line. I'm like, oh no. So if you've seen my video where I get that fish jumped, praying that he jumps in the middle of the lake, doesn't spit it. I spend 2 weeks looking for that bait. I figured he would spit it at some point, figured it would float up. It's 11 acres, so there's a lot of shoreline for it to get up on. Standing there on my dock with my son, and they had drained the lake, pulled it down 2 feet. I'm sitting there, I look over at my dock, and that bait is in the rocks at my dock, and it must have come back before they drained the water. So I think that fish said, hey, I know where you live. I will bring that lure to your dock. And I actually got that thing back. I had called Trey a few times saying, dude, I need a couple more of these painted up, blah, blah, blah. And first dude I text him, like, Trey, I got it. He's like, that's unbelievable. So it was crazy. It just landed under my dock.
Right.
Out of all the shoreline it could have went.
Exactly, yeah. That's the craziest thing about it. The fact that you found it, but you found it at your dock is what's pretty crazy, you know.
At my dock.
Yeah. Well, that's a pretty good story, man.
Yeah, it was amazing. I did not want to lose that lure and got it back, so that was cool.
Question here about these GoPros. Did I get my replacement GoPros in? I have. I got them in I think it was last Thursday, and I filmed with them Thursday. I did not normally when I do these, I try to record with a external like battery pack, and I didn't do that. I didn't want to have bad luck with that with the batteries, so I didn't use external power. I left the battery in it and swapped out batteries 3 times on Thursday and on Friday, and they didn't shut down on me. And I'm using one now. So far so good. And I'll just let you guys know how they continue to work. But from what I've seen, I mean, I think it's kind of hit and miss. Same with the fives. Had a lot of guys had issues with fives. I didn't. And same with the nines. It seems like there's guys having issues with the nines and some guys that aren't. So we'll just see how these work out. But you're having issues off and on with yours, aren't you, Andy?
Yeah, and I'm I'm convinced it might be the battery, which is some of them don't. I just bought a brand new battery, didn't have an issue with it. Yesterday, I ran that GoPro all day, and it was hot. I had it on that short YOLO stick on the front of the boat, and it ran all day. I didn't have an issue.
Did you have a battery in it?
It did have a battery in it.
You had it charging?
Yeah, I ran it down a little bit, and then I plugged it in just to see if it would actually charge the battery or if it would just maintain power. And it stayed on the rest of the day. I didn't have an issue. So weird.
Yeah, could be the battery. You never know. And I thought, was it you that told me? There's somebody else told me that the GoPros are like programmed to shut down before the battery gets too hot and swells. So maybe, like you said, it could be some bad batteries that are getting hotter faster than they should, which is causing the cameras to shut down.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it was 45 minutes for me. Like I can't record anything in 45 minutes. So it was a big problem. But it could just be something like the batteries, like you said. You would have thought that GoPro would have known that, for as much as I had them on the phone. That's one thing they didn't ask is that the batteries,
Like I said, I mean, it's the first year for this GoPro, first year for this bigger battery, bigger processor, bigger everything. So I think they figure everything out by time for the 10 to come out.
Right.
You could trade it on the 10.
Yeah. I already heard that. I thought they're trying to get the 10 out in September this year.
Are they?
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to or not, or some guys are saying, because I watched some videos on some guys are saying that's what they need to do is fix the bugs in the 9 and just re-release the 9 before you put out the 10,
Yeah.
But really, I don't have any issues with it other than overheating. I did do the memory card deal that I was telling you about one time where it wouldn't save the file. It was like trying to repair it and then it wouldn't let me play it. But other than that, it's just been the overheating, which, like I said, I guess it's kind of hit and miss.
Right. Yeah. And I don't. So I was all completely new to the 9 because I had a 5. I didn't hate that call, and I kind of just I won the 5 from YOLO Tech actually. Right. And then so I just used that one because I had the 3 and the 4 black before that. So I used 5, didn't upgrade until the 9, so everything was new to me. All the stuff the 8 had or the 7 had, that I missed all that. So I'm like, look at this, and you're like, yeah. That's been there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, 5s were my first GoPros. Before that, I used handy cams. See, I went from the 5s directly to the 9s. So yeah, same way.
And you actually, I remember the videos where you didn't even show your face. So
I know.
That was no handy cam, no face. I mean,
right.
That was the real deal.
Yeah, it wasn't until talking to Gene Fluke Master that he said you start showing your face. So I was like, all right, give it a shot. That's funny. Let's see here. Local. Does your local high school have a bass fishing team? Big Mike would love that. Might have to be at Table Rock. I honestly don't know if they do or not.
Yep, some kids from Troy were here. Highland, Centralia, Edwardsville. All the schools around here have one.
Would it be high school only, or do they have anything before high school?
It's high school.
Just high school.
Triad has, I think, about 8 to 10 kids on their team.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So here's a story here. Short version for my crazy story. Daughter had her pole pulled into the water by a fish. 5 minutes later, I hooked a tree pounder and reeled in the tree, her pole, and the fish. There you go, man. That can happen too often. As far as losing poles in the water, I never had and this is with my sons when they were fishing early, I never had a fish pull it in, but I do remember going to the lake after work on the boat. Everyone was on there, me, my wife, both my boys, and I had, I think, Vinny up front. I think Becca was in back with Mike. And I look back at Mike, and next thing you know, his fishing rod's gone, and he just threw it in the water. We never found it, but yeah, just threw it in.
I've had a couple catfish take my poles.
Oh yeah.
I've lost poles off the boat.
Mm-hmm.
One was a night tournament, and I just got back, and I'm like, "Where's that one at?"
Right.
The other one, caffeine. You know, they're pulling current and everything else. It's real windy. We're going, and all of a sudden, I see that thing slow motion.
Mm-hmm. As soon as you said slow motion,
into
you
the
froze.
water. Gone. My wife was. I'm back.
Did you get any of the rods back that flew off the boat?
Absolutely not.
Oh man.
No, never found them. I tried to hook them for a good half hour. The other one, I where it went. You know, it was dark, and I must have just got excited because I caught a fish or something. And
right.
On.
Well, fab fishing in the house. I'll never forget when you threw those Lunchables. That was definitely one of the craziest things I've seen on the water. Yeah, that was a tough day fishing. Wasn't catching any fish. Threw the Lunchable in the water. Then I got to use the net to get my Lunchable. So at least I used it for something that day, you know.
That chumming? That's chumming. You're cheating.
Chumming? I'm not sure fish would even eat Lunchables. They're not that good.
I'll eat anything if I'm hungry. You know, fishing.
Old Fat Boy says, my buddy's kid went fishing off a dock and his friends out of town. Hooked a pike, got it to the dock, and it snapped his line. A year later, he went back, caught a pike that had that lure still in its mouth. No kidding, after a year. What's going on, Rocky? Richard? I've got that baby duck weight bake from Trey. That's cool.
And that's what was upsetting us, because I was like, that was the first one he ever painted up. You know, that was just, he did it for me. He was like, man, I like this. So I think he made a post. He's like, who else wants one of these? If he got enough interest, he was going to. So now that's part of the lineup, I think.
Oh, really? That is pretty cool.
Similar to his mouse, but it's the yellow one. But I got another story.
Okay. Hold on, you just froze on us. Hold on, you there? You froze on us. You're good. Okay.
So I think it's my son's on some games right now.
See, I always kick my kids off whenever I'm on.
Yeah, I'm about to. If he keeps screaming like he is, he gets excited. So
right.
But so I'm fishing. I went with my buddy. This lake wasn't stocked very long, but
hold on, we lost you.
There's all of a sudden 4 or 5.
We lost you.
Hold on, I'm gonna go kick him off. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna go kick him off the internet.
Okay. Yeah, we'll wait till he gets back, because the one story I'm thinking of is a really good story. I want to make sure you guys are able to hear that one. But let me know, guys, what's going on with you guys. You guys catching any fish? Let's see here. What we got here. Austin's lost a couple rods in the water. Top 6 August baits. We'll wait to get back to this one here when Andy gets back. What do you mean Lunchables ain't that good? They are. I guess they are pretty good. I've had a couple of them, though, that aren't the best. All right, BT, take care, buddy. And we got 71 people on here. If you guys have not hit the thumbs up, please do so. Really do appreciate that. What's going on, Gavin? Fat Boy says, a buddy was throwing my brand new jerkbait setup. He's a very good fisherman. He casts and the reel backlashes, and it flings the rod out of his hand. Never got it back. No kidding. Man, that's a tough break there. You back?
Just, can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
All right. So, what story you want me to tell them that one story? Okay, I'll tell them a different story first. I'll finish that.
And then we got to get to the one where we were on the boat together.
So me and my buddy are at a pond. We're throwing spinner baits, and I remember, and I'm looking for this spinner bait. It was like a Bill Dance fox or blue fox or whatever, but it was like it had a black blade and it was kind of gold and black skirt. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm throwing this spinner bait. Caught a few fish. It was good. Hooked a fish. It wasn't that big, 3.5, 4 pounds. Breaks me off. I'm like, great. There goes my favorite spinner bait. Walk back to the truck. I'm retired.
Hold on, we lost you.
Get back to the spot.
Hold on, we lost you on. We lost you on retying.
Yeah, that's a pain in the butt. It's only missing a second, I think. But
go ahead.
So I'm retying. I walk back to my spot. I see this fish jump. You know how they always do. They're trying to get that lure out of the mouth. He jumps, and that spinner bait flies out of his mouth and lands right at the bank.
Gosh.
Walk down, grab my spinner bait, pick it up, and I don't know if I should go any further with that because you might start saying it's bull crap because
really keep going.
All right. Well, on the lake I live on now.
Mm-hmm.
I was fit. Did I freeze? I usually know if I froze.
The lake that you're on now.
Yeah, your hand moves to your mouse every time I freeze, so it's like But so I'm throwing, and I'm around a brush pile, and I hooked the biggest thing I've ever hooked in this lake, and I just couldn't get it up. It's digging, and I feel it get on another stick and breaks me off.
Mm-hmm.
And again, no joke. At least a week later, I'm fishing again. I'm walking along the bank, and it is in a bass bed on the edge of the bank, sitting there in the bottom.
Oh, my gosh.
No joke. And now I don't have it, and I wish I had it in a frame.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I'm looking at that spinnerbait. If I find it, I'm going to frame it. I mean,
that's a conversation piece. Yeah, you got to keep that one. Yeah, what are the odds of that happening twice, you know?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I would take, and then I lose the dang thing somewhere. Who knows where it went.
Let's see here. Brandon, appreciate $10, buddy. I was on my lake back home in my pond prowler working the shoreline. As I'm flipping, I work my way around a bend, and what do I see? A young couple naked doing the deed. All three of us locked eyes. Well, I bet that was a bit uncomfortable.
The story ends right there. I don't know if you go into the details of the rest of the story.
Yeah, it's probably better off that it ends there. But we do appreciate $10, buddy. Everybody. And we do have a little giveaway for you guys tonight. A little MTB Elite box. If you guys donate, you are entered in the giveaway. Do appreciate that. But yeah, it's probably best that story ended right there.
Everybody can end it on their own little versions.
And we don't want to get into he was using a worm or what, what's going on. All right, too much. What's going on, Steve? How you doing, buddy? All right, Tom's got a story here. Tom, went fishing the other day, caught a few, threw a Vega frog. It spits like crazy and walks pretty good. Threw it in the duckweed, had 3 roll onto it. No hookups yet. We know a thing or two about the duckweed, right?
Yeah, it's a good time.
I do believe. I agree with you, though. I do believe it is dying.
Yeah.
Cool, Richard. Appreciate $5, buddy. You're entered in the giveaway.
Hopefully those patches are growing instead of just
right. I'll head out there and actually I might go out there tomorrow night and I'll check on it again. But let's go to the other story. This one here I think is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The story with me and you.
So how did that start? So we got around that big tree.
Mm-hmm.
We're fishing for a while. We were doing pretty good fishing, right?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, and you were on the point where you broke off. Dang it, I think we froze up.
You know, we had a good limit already.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so we get to that tree. I'm like, there's got to be a fish here.
Mm-hmm.
Set the hook. He's on there. I can feel him in the tree. Pop. Breaks, but it broke at my reel, didn't it? It was a long cast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Broke somewhere in my reel. So there's all this fishing line out there. And, you know, it's fluorocarbon, so it's gone. It's sinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, I think I told you, I said, I know that fish is going to jump at some point
Mm-hmm.
and try to spit that bait. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't. We're fishing around the tree. What was it, 10 minutes? I mean,
at least, yeah, we went fishing in another area, came back to, I thought, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a while. And all of a sudden, we're fishing, and I feel something strange. And I'm like, hey, that might be fishing line. Oh, exact same time I say that.
Oh, no, we lost you.
30, 40 feet behind that. Back on.
I got you, yeah. So as soon as you felt the what you thought was fishing line.
Feel that weird, I'm thinking it's string or line, and all of a sudden that fish jumps 30, 40 feet behind that, way over there. He must have been stuck on that tree with that line. He's trying to go the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden I start pulling on it, comes up out of water, just get. And what happened? Look, but then did you grab it or did I grab it?
I think you grabbed the line. I think we put the rod in the water. We got the line, and then you started hand lining it in.
After it came off the hook, and then we start pulling it in, and it comes loose, and the fish comes in, and we land the actual fish, the bait, out of the water. We saved the environment. We caught the fish. It was a great day.
That was pretty awesome. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. It's a good thing it broke where it did. That way we had that much line to actually get it back, you know?
Exactly, because if not, that fish would have been 100 yards down the bank already. And luckily, the line must have snagged on there because he was beyond the tree already. He was trying.
Yeah.
He's like, they come again. I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was pretty cool. That
would have been something awesome to have on video. And that's the day we weren't recording, you know?
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Very, very cool.
So that's the coolest thing you've ever had happen to you. And it happened to me.
Right, yeah. Me seeing it was the coolest thing that ever happened to me. Yeah, nothing like that has ever happened. Never got any lures back. I break them off, they're gone. You know, nothing cool happens to me. Cool stuff always happens when I'm with you on the boat.
The fish is. I've had fish bring it to my dock. Fish bring it to a bank.
It's like
fish
you trained them.
They wait for me to come back for it.
It's like you're the fish whisperer.
I guess. I guess. Oh, and that Guggen bait, that other fish threw it out of its mouth. It was a topwater, so it was floating. So I just snapped it off the top of the water.
And you had that one on video, though, the revolver. I seen that one. That was pretty cool. Brandon, appreciate the $5, buddy. You're entering the giveaway. He says they got up and ran away after a few minutes later. I caught a 5-pounder. That's great. Let's see here. Army Outdoors, man. I appreciate the $20, buddy. What's going on, brother? Definitely excited for September and hope we can fish together. Yeah, we'll try and work it out, man. Just get a hold of me about the time you're in the area, and we'll see what we can work out. Bite should be pretty decent in September. Thank you, Austin. 10 horse mine. He's in the house. What up, fellas? Just got back from St. Louis, 2-hour drive in solid rain, flat out dumping. Good to be home, checking you guys out. Appreciate it, man. Glad you made it home.
Yeah, it was a big old line of storms came through.
Oh, yeah. Looked like a wall on the radar. Seen some questions up here earlier about some good August baits. See if I can find that real fast.
What'd you say, August baits?
Yeah, I think it was like top 6 August baits. I'm trying to see if I can find where that comment was.
Yeah, I can't see the chat, so.
You can't see it?
No, not the way I have my phone.
Oh, okay.
My phone.
May have already gotten it. Here we go. Baby Bassin, top 6 August baits. You can name 3. I'll name 3. They may end up being the same ones, but like, what are your like top 3 baits for August?
I'm gonna say, do you want me to name them all 3 first, and then you go, or do you want to do just?
I'd imagine. Well, let's go. You go one. I'll do one. I'd imagine a few of them are going to be the same anyway. So,
Okay,
you
so
go.
I think one of the best baits to catch fish and to search for them is a deeper crankbait. And usually it's going to be a shad pattern. Most fish are going to be, a lot of the fish that are out off the bank are going to be following schools of shad. So that's like a 6XD or depending on the depth of your water, something like that, and a shad. And we got gizzard shad, so I'm always going to throw something like that.
You do a lot of deep fishing on the lake that you live on, or I guess your home lake.
Right now, it's good to do that. A lot of times when the water is cooling, and there's a ton of fish that stay shallow. I don't care what time of year, how hot the water is. And as a guy that usually likes to target fish, so I have to be seeing something I'm casting at, and that then I'll usually target them. But I'm trying to get off the bank, and that's when I'll start dragging stuff out there or throwing that crankbait and Swimbait. I'm starting to try to get into that area.
That's cool. I remember you telling me years ago, you gotta get off the bank. You gotta get off the bank, you know. But fishing the one mud hole that you know that I fish, I just have a hard time getting off the bank there. I believe majority of those fish are gonna be pretty shallow, you know.
Yeah, and they are, especially after rain and stuff like that. When the water's cooling, that dumps a lot of oxygen in there. But that thermocline, that area around that thermocline is going to be the most oxygen in the water when it's hot. So, they could be suspending 5 to 8 feet all through the lake, but you're not catching them because they're all suspending. They're not even around cover.
The one bait I'm going to say, I think I got some of them right here. I actually ordered some of these after the day that we had, and I'm not usually a big zoom guy. But normally I would say 10-inch ribbon tail worm would be kind of my go-to bigger worm for the hot summer months, trying to give them bass a bigger meal. But after fishing with you, I did pick up some of the mag trick worms.
Trick worms, baby.
Some of the mag. I did try to get Scuppernog. I haven't asked them yet if they can get a hold of that color. If I can, we'll buy a bunch of packs. But yeah, the mag trick worm would be a great choice. Just a big, beefy worm there. Like this one here, or like just a 10-inch ribbon tail, the Exo Swim, the old Monster, something like that. But just a big worm would be probably my number one choice. Big shaky head worm. What are the colors I get in here?
And honestly,
I did get red shad. That's perfect there for the muddy water.
If they're not eating that, if they're not eating the straight tail, I just switch to a ribbon tail. I kind of just stick with those,
Gotcha.
But so my second one is obviously the same thing you just said.
Right. Yeah.
We'll go to your second one now, because that's what I throw all the time is mag trick worm or ribbon tail, plum, purple, black, green pumpkin. That's what I stay with.
I would say, which is probably gonna be your next one. I would probably say a jig. And I don't throw a jig a lot, but again, in the summertime, looking for a bit bigger profile, I would go with a jig, Trash Master jig, or some sort of flipping jig, good sized trailer on there, Vile Craw, Rage Craw, something that's got some beef to it. So I'm going to say a jig, pretty versatile bait.
Yeah, that's probably the next rod I would pick up is the jig.
Right. Other than that, for me, I would say just a standalone Texas Rig Craw. Again, something in the bigger size, 4-inch, 4.5, something along that line there. I'll let you go for it. Do you have any more that you prefer in August versus other months?
Yeah, I'm throwing a popper.
Top water.
I'm gonna throw a popper unless if shad are starting to kind of move in areas that are shallower, and you're starting to see. We saw a couple schools yesterday, and the kid behind, the kids fishing. All of a sudden, something busts these shad, and I can see the school right in front of me, and he white frog. We're in water. We're pitching at a rock bank, chunk rock bank, pretty steep drop to about 10 foot, pretty quick. So we're in open water on the wrong side of the boat.
Right.
And he tossed that frog, and instantly, wham, just gets hammered, but he missed it. And I don't know if it's a big fish, but they're starting to get there. But I'll throw a popper around, docks or wood or anything, and just, kind of let it sit for a minute, and then pop it a little. And I'm not real aggressive with it, but.
Cool. My next one would have been a frog. Do you use a walking frog more or a popping frog? Do you have a preference one over the other?
I walk them a little more than I pop them. And, of course, I like to throw them on moss and things like that, but I've started a lot more frequently throwing them in open water and around docks and stuff like that. And, they get bit. I used to be the mentality that you had to be on moss or lily pads to get bit on a frog, and that's not true.
Yeah, I keep it pretty simple. If I'm in open water, I like a walking frog. I take that back. If I'm in like a mat, whatever, I don't use the popping frog. I prefer a walking frog on a mat. And then if I'm more open water, I'll use both. But like I said, for a mat, I just prefer a walking frog over the popper.
Yeah, I would probably throw a stick bait in open water, schooling shad, fish eating schooling fish over a popper. I would throw that walking, like a stick or something getting back and forth action.
Let's see here what we got.
So what's the difference in like, why did these companies change these baits? Say like the Wiggle Warts or the P70 Pop R and stuff like that. Why are you? I know the Wiggle Wart changed hands, but keep it the same if it works so good. Or are you just trying to save money and still make money?
Yeah, probably, because if there's a new bait, everyone's going to go buy it. You know what I mean? It's all about the sales, be my guess. And I'm sure some older baits, I'm sure they've made improvements to them.
Because the original P70s Pop R's work better than the new ones. They reintroduced them, but they just have they'll put different beads or something like that. It just doesn't sound. And so, if anybody's got any P70s,
I've been trying to get them from LureNet for a while. They've been sold out for the longest time.
The Pop R,
the newest one, yeah.
Yeah, I want the old ones. I want the vintage ones.
You don't have any back there on the wall?
Oh, I
vintage.
I just want more.
Let's see what Adam says here. I was catfishing with my cousin years ago, and something took my rod in the water. I was so depressed, I went and fell asleep. An hour later, he caught my rod with a nice striper on the other end. Good something to wake up to, man.
Actually, I got a couple of those.
Oh, you got them right there?
Yeah, these are the newer ones. P70s.
Good color, too.
Yeah, that's...
There you go.
If you want one. Get out to that clear pond. I'll give you one of them.
Yeah, we need to do a little challenge out there.
Yeah, first one catch a 10-pounder.
10-pounder. They're definitely in there, that's for sure. Becca says, the old lady, I do believe your awesome wife found your pliers and something else that Vinny threw in the lake. That's a good story. That was actually out at the shores. I was fishing with Vinny, and I had my back turned to him. And I think he had my tools or something in his hand. He wasn't fishing. He was just playing around with tools. And I was fishing, and something just told me to look around, turn around. And right before I did, I heard a plop in the lake. And I look at Vinny, he doesn't have the tools anymore. They're not on the ground, and he threw them in the lake. And Becca was nice enough though to go back there and search through Holiday Shores where in the area that he threw them in, and she found the pliers. That was pretty good. That was before the recording day, so.
The funniest video I saw was some guy lure, used some pliers, and instead of tossing the lure in, he threw his
I've seen that. I've seen that. That was pretty good.
But now those big magnets.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in my kayak, I got that magnet with me, so I'm like, I'm ready to go if I drop something like that in.
Right. That's funny. Sean, appreciate $2, buddy. You're into the giveaway. Thanks for always creating good stuff. Appreciate you guys tuning in, man. If you guys weren't here with us, it'd probably be a little boring just talking to Andy all day. No, he's entertaining, man. He's a good old dude.
Kind of like being in the boat.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't catching fish. We probably, bad.
Okay, what are your favorite swim baits? I'm not sure if we're talking hard baits or soft. I don't think you throw a lot of the hard baits, hard swim baits.
Yeah, I mean, I've been throwing some of the baby bullgills, and then I got one of the big bullgills, and and then what else? I've the S-Waver and stuff like that, them glide baits, but I've been trying to throw a little more of the soft baits, and I had some. I don't even know what they were, but I had some, and I was in a tournament. I actually had my son with me. He's sleeping. I'm like, dude, wake up! I need the net. He gets up. But 2 more fish got about a half hour, 45 minutes ago. I had not thrown a big soft swim bait ever, and so like, now's the time. I'm gonna do it. Finally, get away from it. Sometimes you get into this pattern where you just keep throwing something even though it's not working, just because you like to throw that. And so I finally got myself away from that. Put that big swim bait on. First 2 casts, 3-pounders, and the day. I mean, but it was. I think it was one of those big. What is that? The money minnow.
Oh yeah, money minnow.
But it's a big one. It's like 6-inch, 7-inch. I don't know. It's Shadowlicious. That's what it was. It was Shadowlicious.
Yeah, after that one day that you had with the S-Waver, I've tried tossing it a few times. Even out there at the ponds, I've tossed it, and I still haven't caught a fish. I don't think that's been bigger than the bait. I just don't have.
I think it's all about cadence with that thing. I think it's just it's you got to move it fast, move it slow, figure out what they want, and then that day it was just you had to let it glide to one side, and right before it stopped, you had to hit it again.
Yeah, I've only caught a handful on it, but it's no size yet.
They would hammer.
As far as me, I'll probably go more in the soft swim baits. My top 3 would probably be the Exo Swim. I'm saying Kitex, and then I'm saying the Jackall Rhythm Wave would be the 3 that I use the most. The Rhythm Wave, it's got some nice wobble to it. Oh, 10 Horse Monty said it's been a swim jig, underspin, worming jig for him lately.
Yeah, I have to say a swim bait too on that summer deal. I'm starting to really like that.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised at the lake that I was at the other day in Greenville. Water temp was anywhere from like 79 to 82, and there was a ton of shad up shallow already as well. I thought the lake would be much warmer than it is right now, and it's just not.
That rain, all that rain, it's been a weird year, and the water's only in the 80s right now, 81.
Yeah.
And it's up to 90 something, but it's been 80, 81, and we just got this rain again, so I don't think it's going to go.
No. Yeah, the hottest I've seen in the last couple of weeks has only been 83. Tom says, fished a club tournament at Vandalia Lake. Went to fish a dock. A buddy said he broke a fish off there about 5 minutes earlier. Flipped to the dock, caught a good keeper, went to unhook it, and got his hook back for him.
Yep, I believe it. It's happened. It's happened not to me, but other guys out here. They'll hook a fish that has already bit and broke somebody off, and it's got it in its mouth, and not half hour later. I mean, some fish will just hit anything they see, and then some fish you will never catch. They will never bait ever. They will live.
It makes you wonder: are they biting because they're hungry, reaction, or just trying to get that out of their mouth? You know what I mean? Because it is kind of unusual for them to bite, right away again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the fish, like I said, the fish that I've noticed that I break off on, they're good 20, 50 yards away from where they bit or I broke off before they're jumping trying to spit it. And then so it's just crazy fish like that are just like locked into a location or a dock that aren't chasing something like that. I think they're more likely to sit and stay in that spot. Just they might just be trying to get out under the water instead of going nuts.
Yeah, I remember we were on the shores. I think you had broke off on a fish there. And I don't know if you remember, a good ways down, you seen him like thrashing under a dock trying to throw whatever it was that you had broke off there.
Honestly, that was that Swimbait, that soft Swimbait out of the MTB box. And that was the first time I had ever thrown a soft Swimbait. And it was a big fish. And that ripped the rod out of my hand. You remember that?
I do remember that, yeah.
And it broke me off, and it was under that dock. That was a good ways away.
Yeah.
Under there trying to get it out of his mouth. But he's a fish that was chasing that bait, that swim bait, and he was following that swim bait. So I think they're more likely to be gone, just get out of there.
Right. Let's see here. Gene G. My main species are bass, but when it comes to a catch and cook, I'll switch over to pan fish setup. Any recommendations on ultralight rod and reel? You probably got more experience with that. The only really ultralights I have and used are the Akuma. I think they're called Celio. I think that's how you pronounce them. And they're pretty inexpensive. I think they're right around $30. And I've only used them a handful of times this year for panfish. But that's a pretty decent rod there for the price. Reel, I mean, I'm sure you'd want something. I know Andy likes something smaller than I do. But I guess it depends on the pound test you're going to use and the size reel that you like. But I'd say anywhere from probably like a 500 to, I mean, I have a 3,000 on some of mine, but anywhere from probably a 500 to, I'm going to say 1,000 would be good for ultralight.
Yeah, I think you're missing the whole ultralight thing, Jimmy.
I'm still using light line. It feels better in my hand,
The whole ultralight thing is like, oh boy, I can't wait to see you when we rod with light line on it. So this reel is, so I got these from Carl's, and I'm not particularly, I just put a video out on the one, and I finally got the other one in, and I'm not big on lures. I've never used a lot of lures, but for ultralight, honestly, you can't go wrong as long as it's a decent reel. And I think this Luz is a decent reel. So this is the laser light speed spin. And just to give Jim an understanding of what's going on here, this is the 100. And I think this is too big. Okay. This would be something I would throw a little bigger lures on, in, say, if we went somewhere and we were going to focus on some Ned rigs or some small jigs or something like that for smallmouth or something like that. This is the 50 I just got, and that's what I'm talking about. So this is too big, and this is smaller than your 3000 is probably bigger than this one, but this one is the size I'm talking about.
Right, and I'll give you that, but the reason for going to a smaller reel, majority of the time, is going to be because you're using a smaller pound test.
And because you're using an ultralight rod instead of a medium action 7.5.
Right. But I think it has to come down to what feels better in hand. And I would bet on it that I'll have less line issues with my bigger spool compared to that small spool. And I'll probably even get a further cast.
I don't think
would bet.
I'm putting 2-pound test on it.
Well, just because my 3000 will hold 1,000 yards 2-pound test, that doesn't mean that I can't outcast that smaller reel.
But honestly, most of the places don't need a real long cast. It's all about, it's all about, because some of these fish are little, but it's all about the challenge of catching the fish on a really ultralight rod, really light line. You got to play the fish. The pole bends to the reel pretty much. It's like a so you're at a bass rod. Here's an ice rod. Ultralight's like in the middle, and you can use an ultralight ice fishing also. But it's kind of, you're getting farther away from the hole. A lot of my ultralight rods are like 5.5 feet, maybe 6 feet long. So,
well, maybe we'll do a little fish off, because it's going to be the same thing. They're both going to have light line. I'm just going to have a little bit bigger reel.
Jim sets the hook, fish flies over his head.
No, you're looking at that wrong, because just because the reel's bigger, that don't mean the drag's going to be tight. It's still going to be tightened for the pound test that I have on there. If I have 4-pound test, it's still going to be super loose.
So you're saying you got it on an ultralight rod?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you got it on a medium rod.
No, I'm still using ultralight rods. Okay. And I'll still be using little or smaller pound test, but just the bigger reel just feels better in my hand versus the little 500s.
How long?
You there?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
How long's the rod?
I got a couple 5, a couple 5.5, and a couple 6s.
Yeah, that reel's probably pretty big on that rod, but if that's how you like it, dude.
Well, that's what I did before. I had they were just light action, or take light power rods that I was using for crappie before. They were just one piece light power, 5.5 foot. And I put, I had 500s and 1000s here before that I was kind of putting on the rod, just trying to feel how it balanced out and all that. And it didn't feel that great when I put a 3000 on there. Like, oh yeah, this feels good. So that's why I went with that size for those rods, but I'm still using ultralight rods though.
All right.
So yeah, don't worry, the drag will be loose. I won't be whipping fish out of the water. But we do need to get to doing some, because some of those rods that I've been waiting on, they actually just showed up last week. The other ones that I had, but my other ones finally came in. So I'm definitely down to do some trout fishing.
Good deal. I'm thinking one weekend in the beginning of September, I'm thinking I'll be able to. I'm thinking about escaping down somewhere and fishing.
I'm down.
Or just a random Friday, we need to just go.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't
fish like a. What's up?
I don't think you wake up that early.
Well, I wake up. I get out of bed, but I'm up. Becca, she likes to snore a lot. She kind of gets me up,
Yeah.
Fish like a girl, appreciate the $2. You're entered in the giveaway. Anyone that donates tonight, you're entered for a little MTB Elite box, which we'll pick a winner at the end of the stream here. So stay tuned for that. Really enjoyed the stories. Texas heat, no joke. I can imagine. Yeah, don't get that hot here, but plenty of times I wish I was down in Texas, though.
I just see here.
What's up?
I just wish I was on the beach.
No kidding. Let's see what we got. If you try the Whopper Plopper 60, 75 I think is the last one I've tried. Well, they got the 130, then they got a 110, 90, 75. So 60, that must be a new one.
I don't know. I have a couple 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't thrown a Whopper Plopper a whole
lot. Kevin, appreciate $5, buddy. You're entering the giveaway. We already did favorite hard swim baits. Let's see here. Matthew, I got some of those Butch Brown Trout Thumper tails Lost one other day, was pissed but kept on moving, but it was the baby thumper, not the 9-inch, which are beautiful in the water. Haven't seen those. Butch Brown trout thumper.
I have to look it up.
Doug, appreciate $5, buddy. You're into the giveaway. What are your guys' thoughts on online tournament apps? They have a couple of them like Tourney X or what's it, Half a Spot? Thinking about trying next year. The only online tournament that I've ever done is just the Connect Scale. Really, it's the only one that the one that I hosted was the only one that I've done. Andy, are you familiar with Tourney X or the other one here?
No, but what Tourney X or I haven't competed against anybody except for the one you had. I do that. I like that angler bullseye that I have, and they have some no tournaments. So I see notifications from, I think, Tourney X. I've never seen that. What is that? Half a Spot? Half a Spot or whatever. I'd like to look into them because that was fun. You gonna have one of those?
I might. I'll probably do another one maybe next spring. I should have already done one this year, but now the fishing's kind of tough. Maybe we could do one in the fall, but I think definitely next spring. Especially with all the freaking tubs we caught this year, man.
Oh, man, fall's the best time, I think.
You think? I don't know what it is. It just seems like, again, maybe it's, I love to get you on the lakes on the fish. We keep talking about it. It never happens, but I don't know if it just falls just like short on those lakes or what. And it seems like when water temp gets to 50 on those lakes, and it could just be watercolor, it's like I can't catch nothing. I think the coldest I've caught a fish is 46 degrees, but of course water temps are falling. Now 50 and rising is a bit different, but when it's 50 and falling, I just cannot get bit. Again, I don't know if it's due to watercolor or what, but
probably
I'm not much.
That dirty water.
You think?
Water. I guess that Butch Brown thumper or whatever is by Optimum Baits.
Oh, is it?
Looks pretty good.
So the Angler app, you said that's not a tournament. It's just kind of just, like a single person, like you always do when you're with me, just dinging it for catching so many fish or whatever.
Like right now, it's like if I get to 100 fish, then I get a free bullseye. I've won another thing, but yeah, I don't think they have actual, but you can go live on it, and I think they might have something like that where it's that you compete. I just haven't got them or got to it yet.
Cool. See, Matthew says, I'm doing an online tournament, the Swimbait Underground Swimbait only online tournament, and it's pretty cool. Obviously, prizes can be a little different than major tournaments, but a good to get feet wet. There you go, Doug. Check that one out, man. So Sean says, I trout and panfish, but I wouldn't go under a 2500. The drag disc and spool size are better on larger reels and help to control the fish better, less line issues. Let's see here. You throw chatterbaits a lot? Favorite chatterbait setup and trailer?
I don't.
You want to go?
Sometimes I'll throw them. It really did well for me to cash a check. I think I actually lost the winning fish, but I got top 5 in the BFL down on Ohio River. I asked the buddy because I hadn't been there all along. I was like, what should I throw? He said throw a black chatterbait. And then another tournament, I cashed a check on one of the jackhammers down there.
There you go.
So I like them in that, and then grass lakes. I like them. I like to throw them shallow in grass lakes.
I don't throw them too much around grass. I kind of throw them anywhere that I would throw a spinnerbait, but I like a chatterbait in a bit colder water.
Anywhere I'm going to throw a spinnerbait, I'm throwing the spinnerbait.
There you go. That's a great answer. For me, my chatterbait would be the shock blade. I just like the standard shock blade. They have the Pro, which is a bit tighter. The standard shock blade, it's a bit wider action to it. Trailer, I tell you, don't underestimate the plasma tail. 4.5 plasma tail is a trailer. It's got killer action on there. Other than that, I probably use probably the blade minnow from Strike King the most. And as far as rod and reel goes, usually 6-speed reel, 15 to 17 pound in VizX. And I like a rod that's got some tip to it. The one I throw is the Okuma TCS. It's a 7-foot medium heavy with a moderate fast action. See, Tom says, yeah, the 60 is the newest swapper plopper size. I wish they'd put the tail from the 75 and put on a 90 and call it the 95. There you go. What's going on, chicken fried steak? Here, this would be going for you, Andy. You use spinning reels a lot. What is your favorite braid for spinning setups?
I'm just kind of getting into the braid. I usually use fluoro, all fluoro.
Straight fluoro.
And I always use VizX for fluorocarbon, but I have some J braid, and it's done pretty well. And I've had some of that Denny Brower flipping braid on. I was using that for a frog, and I mean, it's all okay, but I don't know. I don't know what my favorite braid is because I haven't used it enough, but I haven't had any issues with the braid I've used. So
there you go.
I've had good luck with spider wire. I've had good luck with the J braid. I haven't had many issues, but I just make sure my drag's set good. My knots, my link knot is good, and some fade quicker than others, but I think you just, don't go with a cheap one, and it depends on how smooth you want it, and some are a lot smoother, than others. But I don't know, that J braid seems pretty decent.
Pretty solid. Yeah, I've heard a lot of guys talk about that. Yeah, I don't use much braid on spinning reels, but my go-to braid would be Sunline FX2 for casting.
Yeah, I'd like to check that out. How much is that a spool?
I'd be guessing here mid to upper 20s if I had to guess. I usually get it, Tackle Warehouse sale, 20% off, something like that.
I just needed to save money on fluorocarbon because it was getting ridiculous, and break so much smoother and doesn't untangle and doesn't twist as much, it seems. So I'm just getting into there. So if I find one, I'll let you know.
Let's see here. Zach says, on the spots you're catching those tubs, are they public? If not, they wouldn't be eligible. Well, if it was my tournament, they would be eligible. And no, it's not public.
Yeah, you just have to go to a different lake.
All right. But if we're looking for tubs, that's where we're going.
Yep. Yeah, there's plenty of places around here to catch big fish. Just they're a little bit more of a drive than, a couple minutes. So it's easier just to go to that, closer place that big fish are at than an hour and a half, and then, there may be hour and a half.
Yeah, I get it from time to time. People saying, "Oh, those fish don't count. They're caught in a pond or whatever." I mean, there's been plenty of times that I've gone to that pond and I couldn't buy a bite. I know it's a much smaller body of water compared to a bigger lake. Obviously, it's easier to find them, but you still got to get them to bite.
That's the thing is, I think a bigger body of water, you're going to have a large population of those fish that will never eat a lure. In a smaller body of water, I bet every one of those fish has seen a lure, more wise to a lure, and it's easier to get a lure in front of their face, but you might already mess that up. So they might already be educated to those lures, so it might even be harder to catch a fish. Like, look at Milliken. Okay, he gets that Panoptics or whatever he's got, and getting out and putting a lure in front of fish's faces that don't forget lures, and they're eating it. Well, it's because they, a lot of times, once you figure those fish out and get them to bite, you can get them to bite. But a lot of times, if after those fish see a lot of lures, it won't work as easy. And I think can't. If I want to see them, I'd like to see them go to a pond and catch the biggest fish in there, and every time
right. That's a great point.
it won't happen because they're not going to be able to. So, and then they'll want it to count.
Right. Yeah.
I caught it. It counts.
Right. That's a great point. Well, we're about an hour in. Let's each. Can you see the comments or you can't?
So, a pond, a little lake, big. What is a pond compared to a lake compared to a giant lake to you?
Were you broke up before that? Were you asking me something?
Yeah. So when there's a tiny pond compared to a small lake, like I don't call a small lake a pond. Like an 11-acre lake, I know there's 10-pounders in my lake, but I've never seen one. I've never caught one. I've never hooked. Some people, compared to Kentucky Lake, would say, "Oh, that's a pond. It doesn't count." Well, if you're on Lake Ontario, they might call Kentucky Lake a pond. It's all relative to what your perspective of what it is. And if you can cast across it and walk around it in 10 minutes, it's a pond. And but if small lakes are just as tough as big lakes, sometimes.
And I would consider that one, like I said, it's not huge. That one that we fish the most. I mean, I think it's right around 5 acres. So I mean, it's decent, and it's got a lot of depth to it,
Yeah, and there's a lot of fish that we've never even
for sure
been close to.
Where the one behind the house up there, it's only like 6-7 foot deep.
Now that's a pond.
Yeah, that's definitely a pond. I mean, you can cover that entire lake in half hour. You know what I mean? Where you ain't going to do that on that bigger lake. Let's grab a couple more questions here. Then we'll go ahead and call it a night. Pick us a winner. Will, appreciate $5, buddy. You're into the giveaway. Good evening, fellas. How are y'all tonight? Finally got on for a live stream. I'm glad you stopped by, buddy. Like I said, appreciate $5. You're entered in the giveaway. We'll be picking a winner here really soon. If you guys want to enter any amount of donation, you're entered for the elite box. Definitely stick around to the end because we'll pick a winner live here. Here's a question here. We'll pick up a couple more questions and we'll end it.
Sweet new red.
Yeah, I thought it was going to come out for a couple months, but yeah, I got it in the mail just the other day. Is yours red too? I know I'm curious. Nothing's really different with the box other than the color. Instead of green, they're now red.
See, I know I'm not at your status yet, so you get your boxes and they're different colors.
Well, I don't know why my Pro, it comes later. I think it comes direct from MTB, but the Elite, for whatever reason, comes from Carl's, and I get that one faster. And I don't know why.
Yeah, I think I'm breaking up a little bit. I don't know if there's some more storms rolling through or not.
Yeah, they said around 9 or 10 they were coming back in here, so that could be an issue too. All right, the situation I'm in for my favorite spot is I'm in the woods casting towards a long horizontal dock. I've caught a lot of fish on black and green worms with tails. Any tips on other baits to use? So favorite spot in the woods casting towards a long horizontal dock. Caught a lot of fish. If you're in the woods, I'm assuming it's a smaller body of water, wouldn't you think?
What part of the dock is he casting at first?
I'm in the woods casting towards a long
boat bank. Honestly, I'd be skipping it under the dock. I mean, he's saying he's throwing it towards the dock, but is he getting actually around each post and under the dock? Are you running along the side of the dock? And you might want to throw spinnerbait if you can get along the dock.
Yeah, I was thinking spinnerbait. Yeah.
A square bill or something along the side of it, and then throw something under it, and but don't just try to keep that bait from being too loud, or you just might spook the fish that don't like people.
Okay, let's do it like this too, just to give some dock tips here, since you fish a lot of docks on the shores. Okay, let's say you got this horizontal dock. Let's say you got 4 posts. Okay, what's your target first? What are you casting at first? What will be last? I know some guys say if you cast to this post first, you may spook the fish. You got to start here. So how do you approach a dock? Let's just say this got 4 posts.
Well, so the dock comes out, and then there's 2 posts, and then the end of it has 2 posts.
Yeah, let's go with that route.
So,
of course, shade's going to play a role too. You know, if there's trees around, shit like that. I'm assuming.
Usually coming to it, if I'm pretty far from it, I'll probably toss a bait to the outside post, whichever.
I'm losing you.
Doesn't matter, but throw a little side and try to get it back. Can you hear me now?
You're good now.
Okay. A lot of times I'll skip something in under the shallow side because I think they're more likely to spook once the already there and casts are coming in. I think the shallow bass are going to spook faster. So I'm going to cast to the shallow side, try to get it inside that post, get it into the middle, and give, wherever that fish is positioned, he will have a good opportunity to get that bait. And then I'll work my way out towards the outside before I get up too close. But then I'm going to go back under the front of it and probably back in the other side of it too. But I mean, if I had one cast at a dock, I'm probably going to go up in front of it, stay out a little bit, and just cast it try to get it all the way to the back and drag it up the front.
Cover the whole thing. I got you. Okay, let's grab one more question here. Let's see what we got. You said you can't see comments, right?
I can see the one you're putting up there.
Okay.
But I got my phone sideways here.
Let's see here. Bobby Basson, as a budget angler, I have 2 Abu Garcia Black Maxes. What would you guys use these for? Top water, swim bait, spinners. So you have 2 reels. I'm assuming you're trying to make them the most versatile, I'm assuming. Gear ratio would be one thing that I would look at. I'm a big fan of 6-speed reels. I know some guys like the faster reels. I can always speed it up, but I just like the power of a 6-speed. So you have 2 Black Maxes. I mean, your line that you put on is going to play a role as well. Since you're talking top water, swim bait, spinners, I probably would put, I'd probably go one with mono and one with fluorocarbon. And the mono, I guess, or you could use braid if you wanted to use braid, but I personally like mono. But you could use that for your top water. And if you have your other one with fluorocarbon, you could use that for your swim baits, your spinner baits, or whatever it is you wanted to throw. But I think having 2 different lines would make it more versatile.
What gear ratio are they?
It doesn't say, so I'm just saying if you
Assuming they're like 3 or 7. So there's probably a 6.3 or something. I found a Black Max in the trash the other day.
Did you?
I will always stop for a fishing pole sitting in a trash can. I think people were moving, and I stop, and I'm like, oh, that's a fishing pole. Well, the tip was broke off this Camel rod, but the Black Max reel was perfectly fine. So I'm like, okay. So I brought it home, gave it to my son, and that's going to be his first baitcaster.
There you go. That's cool.
But I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. You can throw a lot of things on mono.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you can throw. I mean, for what he's talking, if you just got 2 reels, I mean, you can pretty much throw anything on those reels. Some gear ratios might be better than others for certain techniques. But like I said, I like a 6-speed for almost everything.
Fish on a stick and a string, right? I mean,
right.
But I would throw probably, like you said, 12 or 15 pound mono and just and then fluorocarbon on the other one. Probably get 12-pound fluorocarbon. And go to work.
Yeah, the line is going to make the reels more versatile. So
bottom contact baits is going to be on the fluorocarbon. Anything, reaction stuff like that, probably put on the mono.
Kevin, appreciate $5, buddy. You're into the giveaway. Glad to hear you finally got your trout rods. Yep, man, I'm pretty pumped to get out there and catch my first trout. I guess is trout fishing, is it normally better? You hear guys do it more spring and then fall and winter time. I guess it's better in colder water, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so trout are very they're, I guess, good word for them is fragile. You can't touch them much. The water just gets too hot. Anything over 80 degrees, I'm not even probably going fishing for.
Mm-hmm. You there?
Yeah.
You said 80, anything above 80 degrees, you don't fish for them?
No, just they're just, it's tough on them to catch them, land them, especially in a net or, I mean, some of these yahoos boat flipping these bass. I mean, I don't know. That's another topic, but but trout, like, you don't even want to touch them without wet hands. Like, they're seriously, and if you drop them, there's a good chance they could die.
No kidding. Wow.
Oh yeah, you don't mess with them. I mean, you pretty much try to keep them in the water as much as you can. And when it gets hot, it's just even worse. So honestly, the water would be best. I would say between just above freezing and maybe 55 degrees. I think that would be probably the best water fish. So,
most guys that I see handle them, they almost keep them in the net and try and unhook them while they're in the water in the net.
Yeah, and even the material of the nets with trout, like it's ridiculous how fragile they really are.
That's crazy.
And of course you see a fish swim off, you're like, oh, he swam off, but then he floats to the top an hour later, after you're gone, and so you just got to be careful with them. Take, especially if it's a catch and release place, or if you're not going to keep that fish and eat it. I mean, don't drag it on the rocks, don't drag it on the bank, don't hold it against your cotton shirt or anything, and make sure your hands are wet and keep them in the water as much as you can. And that's just,
it's funny. Well, it's not funny. I was fishing with my son last at the park here. Well, we were there quite a while, and when we started fishing, we seen this guy fishing off the bridge, and he caught a nice bass. The next thing you know, he's walking it over to his van, and he's got a cooler or something in the van, puts it in the van, he walks back. He's fishing for a while, and we're there for a while. We barbecue and all that. So a couple hours had passed, and we're back fishing over there at the bridge, and the guy comes back with this fish. He goes, "You guys want this?" And I was like, "No, I don't eat bass or whatever, So he tries to put it back, and the fish is floating on its, I guess he's on his back, his belly up, and he's like nosed into the rock. And I said, "I don't think that fish is going to make it. He may just want to keep that fish." He goes, "No, he'll make it. He's still breathing." And you could see that. I mean, the fish was breathing, but he did not look like he was in great shape. So the guy stood around for I don't know how long, seeing if the fish was going to swim off. And then he just leaves. And I'm standing there looking at this fish that's just nose down in the rock. So I played with it for a while and got it to swim off. But like you were saying, there's no telling if that fish is actually going to be alive 10 minutes down the road. You know what I mean? But
yeah. And odds are, who knows what it was in? Was it in a bucket? Was it?
Right.
I mean, did he just toss it on the floor?
Yeah, I mean, there's really no telling you.
Oxygen is this fish, he's already brain dead. His just gills are floating,
That's kind of what I was thinking, that fish he's already gone, But like I said, he did. Once I held him upright long enough, he did kind of swim off, and you could kind of see him sitting down there on the bottom. But yeah, there's no telling if he actually made it.
I mean, come on, anybody with an aquarium. Yeah, I'm not even getting into that. Oh, that whole thing. I mean, it just drives me crazy.
Oh yeah,
it drives me crazy.
I
don't even like the fish to fall off my hook or something when I'm trying to get off and land on the carpet, because I've had aquariums my whole life. And what happens when your fish flies out of your aquarium and gets on the carpet or something like that? You freak out. You think that fish is dead. That fish is going to die. Some of these guys bounce it off the windshield, bounce it off the deck, jump around for 5 minutes, talk about how they caught it and can't believe it. And then they pick it up, throw it in the live well. Then it starts floating, and I don't know what's wrong. I have everything perfect in my live well. I have oxygenators. Well, it's because you bounced it off the damn boat 15 times.
Right.
Live well.
Right. Yeah, I noticed with fishing with you, you're very picky about that, trying to keep your your hands wet, even your ruler. I noticed when you get your ruler, before you put the fish on the ruler, you wet the ruler. So
Yeah, especially when you're going to bump fish. That sun's hot on that carpet, that metal for sure. And that slime coat, like it is a legitimate thing that you can damage on anything. Even on your shirt, it'll take that slime coat off, and that fish may be fine, live, but a lot of times when you see those fish with sores on,
mm-hmm.
that's because that slime coat's on scales. They get infections. They can get in. Then they're more apt to get infections and die and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want a healthy fish and you're going to let it go, if you're going to, it's okay to keep bass. It's okay to eat bass. It's okay to eat whatever fish, as long as you're doing it. Just be aware of how you're handling them if you are going to let them go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that bigger lake that we fish out there at the farm, I bet we took out probably, 400 or 500 smaller bass out of there. And we fried some. My uncle, actually, he took majority of them. We did fry some of them up. And to me, I think bass taste just a little more fishy than like crappie or like bluegill. I just didn't really care for them that much.
I like them. So we have a tournament every Sunday out here. And if any of them die, they know I'll take them and fry them for my son. And I like them. I don't like as much as crappie or bluegill. I'd probably rather have bluegill.
Oh, really?
Catfish is more. There's a definite flavor for catfish, and but crappie's a little light sometimes. It's not. I like bluegill over crappie sometimes.
Oh, really?
It's delicious, but in some grease.
My neighbor, he had me over not too long ago for I think it was white bass is what he cooked up. Those are pretty good too.
Yeah, white bass. Crisco. Yeah. Once you fry them in Crisco, they're all good.
Some hush puppies?
Hell yeah.
Well, Becca's still working on trying to get us a winner. I'm not sure if she's having computer issues or not, so we'll answer one more question here while she's doing that. Do you smallmouth fish a lot, or have you?
I have a few times, yeah. Mainly creeks, caught some, a couple other places.
Okay, Lanny says, you have any tips on badly pressured fish, mainly smallies? They see everything around here, including everything finesse. Just burnt out on trying to catch them. So what's your tip for pressured water, pressured fish?
Well, the biggest thing that pops in my head is make super long casts and just keep your distance and make it try to sound as natural as possible. I mean, if you're throwing a jig or something like that, or a worm, and you have to drag it off the bank so you don't splash real hard in the water, do it. If you can stay as far as you can away from them, because that's one thing is those smallmouth, like a lot of times they're in clear water, so they'll pick you up and they're done then. But other than that, I would say scent is probably a big deal for smallmouth, and make sure you're not touching something crazy before you put your bait on, or they're gonna shy away from that too.
Now, would you downsize as well, or do you go any smaller?
What's that?
Do you downsize at all? Either.
For smallmouth, to me, smallmouth is downsizing already, because like I'll throw Ned rigs and things like that, but I like the smallmouth like topwater. But yeah, I'm probably gonna throw really Ned rigs size kind of baits and different colors. But with pressured fish, you probably want to stick with really natural, like make it as natural as you can.
For the most part, are smallmouth, are they in clear bodies of water?
Mostly. There's some, I mean, we tried to put some out here that are kind of more like a reservoir, smally strain or something. But a smallmouth can sense current a mile away. So the minute our lake rises and it starts going over the spillway, they're like, let's go. They're gone. They're down the Mississippi River.
Right.
I don't think we have many left. I hope we stop stocking them after they all, kind of kept. I hope there's one or two in there that
Mm-hmm.
grow giant, and they surprise us one day. But I don't. I think the minute they sense that current,
Mm-hmm.
they get in it and go.
Now, when's the last time somebody's caught one? Has it been a while?
The last one I remember was my grandpa, probably 4 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when we were still stocking them, maybe even longer, maybe 5-6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But they'd be big now.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
Grow real fast, like them creeks and stuff. That if you catch an 18-inch smallmouth, that's an old fish.
Oh, really?
I think it takes, shoot, somebody would probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it takes at least 12 years or so to get to 18 inches for a smallmouth, like in the creeks in Missouri and stuff like that. It takes a while.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So why people harp on everybody when they're hard on them. They see a
Mm-hmm.
picture or something laying on the ground or something like that. They're like, dude, that fish took forever to get that big.
Right. Right.
You know.
What do they say for largemouth? Wasn't it like something like crazy, like a largemouth has to eat like, I think, isn't it like after he's like 5 pounds, he's got to eat like, I forget how many pounds it was. It was something crazy like 50 pounds to gain another pound just because of how the metabolism is.
You know, I'm not sure, and I
Mm-hmm.
would assume it depends on how long your summers and everything else are. That's why fish don't get as big up north, because they don't have that warmer water more for
Mm-hmm.
time, so their metabolism slows down for most of the year, and so
Mm-hmm.
they don't grow that big. But
Mm-hmm.
like Florida, Texas, they're just munching all year round pretty much, and so that's how they get so big down there.
Gotcha.
And they have another strain of bass in some locations.
Mm-hmm. Update on the win here. She's in Vinny's room trying to do this. It's not loading. Give me 2 minutes. We got 2 minutes. If you need to go, dude, you can. If not, let's pick up.
I did see one comment I clicked on there. It was something about the light penetration in a pond versus
light penetration,
which would differentiate the pond to the lake kind of deal.
This one here. Definition of a lake is any body of water that has an area where the light can not touch bottom. In a pond, the sunlight would touch bottom even in the deepest spot. Otherwise, it's a lake. Okay.
So out of the size, because Rend Lake is an average of 9 feet deep, but it's dirty water.
Mm-hmm.
If it was clearer, would you call it a pond?
That's a good point.
I don't know how that. I would assume you'd have to go on site, but that's a good.
But Ren's a huge lake, though, ain't it?
Yeah, but they're like, most of it is very shallow, so I don't know. But it's dirtier water, and so maybe the light doesn't penetrate.
Mm-hmm.
But how deep does a lake have to be for the sun to penetrate? On a regular stained lake, how deep would that have to be?
Mm-hmm. I think about it too. I never say where we fish, but where you always see me fishing on the dam down the road there. That water being so dirty, and there's really no vegetation in it at all. So that I don't think that sunlight's really penetrating it at all, right? Because is that why over the years it's gotten dirty?
The center of the lake.
What's up?
I think the light penetrates 2 inches in that.
Oh, I know. Yeah, on a good day.
Yeah, it's like it could be 3 inches deep, and it's considered a lake.
Right. And that's crazy because years ago there used to be quite a bit of vegetation in that lake, and it was 1 year, I don't remember how many years back, but we had a really cold winter, and after that winter a lot of the grass had died off, never came back, and after that it just kept getting dirtier and dirtier, and now, like I said, there's pretty much no vegetation except what's like right on the bank.
Is it silty bottom?
Oh yeah, real silty bottom. Yeah,
because it's you can't get that grass to grow if it's silt
mm-hmm.
time. So I mean,
Well, you know what? I am not gonna say it's not really that bad. It's fairly. I mean, it's a mud bottom, obviously, but it's you don't pick up a lot of stuff on the bottom. Put it
you
that
got
way, you know.
bottom areas, like
Mhm.
rocky areas that you can tell is
There's a lot of shell in some areas, and there is some rocky areas, but for the most part, it's just straight mud. You know
gotcha.
what's kind of crazy though? I mean, you drive by, you see how dirty that is, but you can take a bottle, right, and fill it up with water, and it's like super clear, which
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. You know?
Well, I- and I think a lot of times it depends on when it got dirty and how, it can be a lot clearer near the bottom than the top.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Brandon Dipple.
Brandon is tonight's super chat winner. Go ahead and message me on Instagram, Facebook, or email in the description your shipping info, and we'll get that shipped right out. Is he still on here? Hopefully. Babe, make sure you pin that comment when the video is processed, in case he's not on here still. Hey guys, I have no way of getting a hold of you guys. You guys have to watch this and get a hold of me. But yeah, it's just crazy that you can fill up that water, and like I said, it's so clear compared to looking in the water. I mean, you can't see a white spinnerbait 3 inches down.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And I still need to get you on that water one of these days. Make a video because you're going to fish it totally different than how I fish it. You know.
Yeah,
But I got buddies that fish it just like you, fish it painfully slow. And just the other day, I asked him, "Are you going to go fish that lake?" Because I'd probably have better luck in the sewer.
challenge. No,
Huh? Yeah.
honestly, I'm not. I don't fish slow unless I
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like for a long time. My club members and everything, they're like, I was known to be like the guy that just speeds around the lake,
Mm-hmm.
making 3,000 casts in 6 hours, just because I'm throwing a square bill or a spinnerbait or something, and I'm just on number 3 on my trolling motor, and I don't take my foot off of it,
Right. Mm-hmm.
And if I feel like that's what it's going to take to get 5 bites,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of wasting a bunch of time on 5 not aggressive fish, I'd rather run around the lake and get it. And lately, I have slowed down. Hold on, Jimmy.
Right.
We need to cast 3 a couple more times.
You keep it on 3. I used to keep it on 5. I'm rolling. So, guys, I think that will wrap it up for tonight's chat. Again, Brandon Dipple, you are tonight's winner. Hopefully, you come back and see that comment. But guys, if you've not checked out my dude Phantom Fishing, be sure to give him a sub. Check him out on Instagram, Facebook. He'll be linked down below. But just another fun Sunday night. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the show. And like I always say, we never really have a topic that we really stick to. We just kind of talk, BS, catch up, have some fun. So hopefully, you guys enjoyed the show. And we will see you guys on the next one. We're out.